Hello guys, hope you're doing well as always and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about 10 of the most unusual stadiums in the world. In this video there's a lot of weird and wonderful stadiums that I'm going to show you guys and we're going to explore together, and as always I'm interested to know what you think about these stadiums. Would you go and visit them yourself? Have I missed any that you guys think are weirder? Well, by the time this video is finished we will find out the answers to those questions, but for now if you are new here please make sure to subscribe, stick around for more videos like this. Plenty more football vlogs. We are well underway with the 12 vlogs of Christmas, so if you're into football vlogs we've got a plethora of those coming out this December. But starting off this episode with a snappy design. The Timsah Arena in Turkey is an architectural piece of beauty with the obvious design of a crocodile. The scale of the stadium is just as impressive because crocodiles have scales. Holding a capacity of 43,361 spectators, the venue is home to Turkish third-tier side Bursaspor and was opened in 2015 when the side were competing in the Turkish top flight. It's also hosted one national team game in March 2023 during Turkey's Euro 2024 qualifying campaign that saw Croatia cruise to a comfortable 2-0 win in a game that held 37,750 spectators, only short of Turkey's record by about 250 people. The ground's design is inspired by the club's nickname of the Green Crocodiles, and what makes this already cool stadium even cooler is the fact that the eyes and teeth light up on match days, completing a creepy but cool stadium design. All this chat about crocodiles actually reminds me I need to call someone about my reptile dysfunction. No, that is actually not a joke. From wonderful to weird, the next stadium on this list is the Stadion Vojnovac, which from the interior view you just think is any other stadium. What's so special about this one? Well, once you take a look at the outside, you'll see the stadium is bizarrely built on the top of a shopping centre, with the ground itself situated 24 metres in the air. With the ground's capacity reaching 5,200 spectators, there is no room at all for the club to expand, so it's probably for the best that FC Vojnovac aren't one of the biggest sides in Serbia. However, the club's ground is compliant with UEFA regulations, meaning that if they ever qualify for the Europa or Champions League, then this unusual stadium would be eligible to host their home matches. It's hard to imagine a football match being hosted above the likes of a McDonald's, KFC and general supermarket stores, but head over to Belgrade and you can experience this for yourself in undoubtedly one of the weirdest stadiums in the world. And if any of you guys watching want to come with me when I go, then Tess go. I'm not going, it's just a supermarket pun.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
In stark contrast to the Stadion Vojnovac, a stadium that showcases mankind's manufacturing dominance, to the next stadium on this list that has nature at its heart. Built specifically for Euro 2004, the Estadio Municipal de Braga is built into the side of a mountain with two 15,000 capacity stands that are held together by steel wires. The stadium's creator Eduardo Sotomora won the Pritzker Architecture Prize in 2011 for the ground's unique and beautiful design, blending nature and football together seamlessly, and since the Euros, the ground now belongs to one of the biggest sides in Portugal, SC Braga. The binding together of both stands with steel wires is unquestionably cool, but the reason that the ground makes this list, of course, is down to the placement of it. And for me, the scoreboard on the mountain really is the cherry on top. The stadium has been a regular feature in European competitions, most commonly the Europa League, and in my opinion should be on everyone's bucket list. And the fact that Braga struggled to sell out their stadium means that buying tickets shouldn't be too much of an uphill battle, because it's a hill. These are bad. Keeping to the theme of unusual designs, the Mbatho Stadium in South Africa is the fourth largest arena in the country, with a 59,000 seat capacity. Despite this, however, the stadium wasn't even selected to be one of the stadiums in the 2010 World Cup when South Africa held the competition, all because of one major design flaw. The ground is best known for its unusual triangular stands, but some of which don't even point towards the pitch. It's unusual to say the least, but there is a sense of curiosity as to why it was even designed like that in the first place. Unfortunately, along with being snubbed for a World Cup spot, the ground has become a white elephant, rarely in use because of its impractical design. It was home to the Mbatho Kicks until the Bophuthatswana professional soccer league stopped operating, resulting in teams and events to migrate to other venues. It hosts the occasional charity matches and neutral games between two South African opponents, but it only seems like a matter of time until this quirky and unusual stadium is rendered useless and either destroyed or rebuilt. It's even been used for political rallies, with Nelson Mandela giving giving a speech at the stadium in 1994 during his presidential campaign in Bophuthatswana. Its bizarreness is clear to see, and it's a very Marmite ground for footballing fans around the world. Some appreciate the quirky structure and see it as a work of art, whereas others think it's a waste of space that's ugly and impractical. I can certainly see both sides, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to go and see it for myself and get a sense of what the ground is really like in person. The next stadium on this list is fairly unassuming at first glance, but there is a very unusual feature with this ground that I'm confident makes it one of the weirdest on this list. The Černý Balog Stadium is home to amateur Slovakian football side TJ Tatran Černý Balog, and the ground is infamous for having a train track that runs right through the front of the ground's main stand. How mental is that? There are numerous videos online of steam engines passing by mid-game, serving as a unique and quite frankly weird feature for any football stadium to have. This has turned the small Slovakian side of Černý Balog into somewhat of a tourist attraction, purely based on the videos that have been circulating online. When the ground was first built in the 1980s, the train track was no longer in use. But 10 years on, Slovakian enthusiasts began repairing the railway, and from 1992 onwards, the tourist train riders operated, with the football stadium being a specific highlight of the journey. Possibly the weirdest stadium on this list, but with more to come. There's still plenty of room for your minds to change, but along with many, I would love to go and visit this stadium for the pure novelty of that train running through. The next stadium on this list has been in the spotlight somewhat this year since its return to the Premier League, and when it comes to football stadiums, this ground is certainly up there. If you haven't guessed it yet, I'm of course talking about Kenilworth Road, home of Luton Town, whose away stand sees fans needing to take a trip through neighbouring residents' back gardens just to get to their seats. It's surrounded by houses and is the smallest ground to ever feature in the Premier League since Luton's promotion in 2023. Following their rise to England's top divisions, renovations on the stadium took place in order to make the grounds meet broadcasting regulations, with a £10 million project taking the stadium's capacity to 11,500 people. Whilst generally a typical old-fashioned English stadium, the novelty lies with that famous walkway into the ground that's literally in between people's houses. It can't be the most ideal place to live, but Kenilworth Road is a worthy entry on this list and is an utterly bizarre football stadium. For any football team, it's a common desire to want to turn their home stadium into a fortress. Croatian side HNK Trogir took that a little too seriously, placing their stadium between two literal fortresses, Camerlengo Castle and St Marco's Tower. The two 15th century monuments sit behind either goal and are actually UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It seems really weird to be in a position where we're talking about footballs being kicked at two monuments with the same site status as Stonehenge, and that's exactly why the ground is on this list. To make things even weirder, both castles actually featured in the Game of Thrones series, with Trogir in Croatia portraying the fictional city of Karth. The ground has a capacity of just 1,000, with HNK Trogir playing in the Croatian non-league pyramid. However, if the side was to improve or grow in popularity, then renovating the stadium would be extremely tricky, purely down to the protection put in place on these two World Heritage Sites. It's probably my favourite ground on this list, with so much history at either end. I would love to go and watch a game here one day and maybe top it off with a swim at full time. We started this video in wild style with Turkey's Timza Arena, but from Turkey to Taiwan and sticking with the reptile theme, the next stadium to make this unusual list is a Kaohsiung National Stadium. With an exterior that resembles a snake-like shape, the structure is cased in solar panels that not only give a scaly-like aesthetic, but also qualify as a construct as a green building. The stadium also resembles an open question mark, but locals stick to the scaly appearance for the nickname of Glass Snake and Dragon's Tail, and the dragon especially is an animal that appears so often in Asian culture. The construction of this multi-purpose stadium cost around $150 million, opening in July 2009 for the World Games held in Taiwan. Holding 55,000 spectators, it makes it the largest stadium in the country and subsequently the home games for Taiwan's international side. It's certainly out of the norm as far as football stadiums go, but this ground proves that a stadium that's unusual doesn't mean that it's bad, as in my opinion this stadium is lovely. But as with all of these, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Travelling to Singapore for the next unusual ground, and if you haven't been a fan of the last 7, then this one will definitely float your boat. It's called The Float. Opened in 2007 with a capacity of 27,000 people, The Float was the world's largest floating stadium fixed to the seabed by 6 pylons that could handle the weight of 9,000 people, as well as 200 tons of stage props and 3 30-ton military vehicles. Why exactly you'd be in a position where all of those things would be on there at the same time, I haven't got a clue. It's a little overkill for a football ground, but nevertheless, the novelty of this venue has been enough to attract people from all over the world to watch events such as the Grand Prix. It's also hosted football matches, but these have usually only ever been Sunday League level fixtures and not at a professional standard. standard. The first football match to be played at Marina Bay was supposed to be a Singapore Cup final between Singapore Armed Forces FC and Woodlands Wellingtons FC in 2008, but due to a metal beam causing an unwanted shadow onto the pitch, the game was eventually played elsewhere. The ground's eventual first game ended up being a Sunday League game between Tuan Gemek Athletic and VNNTU FC. But before you add this ground to your bucket list, the deconstruction of this stadium has already begun to take place. As the venue was only a temporary fixture, the permanent replacement of the NS Square is scheduled to be completed in late 2026. So if you were planning on visiting, unfortunately, that ship has sailed. Let's keep on rolling. Last but not least, and a little bit of a cheat on this list, is a stadium that is yet to actually exist. However, the projected masterpiece, if eventually completed, is without a doubt worth discussing on a list like this. Already winner of several architectural awards, I am of course talking about The Rock. Not that one! With a promised 40,000 seat capacity, the stadium's planned location is carved into the side of the Jebel Hafit mountain range in Abu Dhabi, with one main stand towering above the rest, intended to be covered by roofs that fade into the surrounding desert. A design that's quite literally groundbreaking. The aim behind the stadium's construction is to increase tourism to the area, which is what heavily contributed to the unusual design of the projected stadium that was inspired by the amphitheaters of ancient Greece and Rome. The perfect blend of ancient design and modern architecture. However, in recent years, there has been an unpromising silence on updates for the stadium's construction due to ambitions seemingly being higher than reality itself. Will we ever see this design is a complex question, but I certainly hope it goes ahead, because if completed, this stadium would be a one of a kind. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And with that, that brings us to the end of our 10 unusual stadiums. Comment down below, let me know what your favorite is, if you've ever been to any of these stadiums, and if you ever would go to any of these stadiums. Personally, as I love going to weird and wonderful grounds, I'd love to go and see them all, the float aside of course. And who knows, maybe if this channel takes off one day, I'll go around and I'll try and visit as many of these as I possibly can. But as always, ladies and gents, I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you guys very soon for another video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys very soon for the next one. Take care, peace and love.